Thanks for clicking. Only a housing crash or a sharp cut in interest rates will restore affordability to the Canadian real estate market. This according to a new report coming from RBC.
An alliance?
An alliance.
The report from RBC comes as former Bank of Canada Deputy Governor Paul Beaudry recently said that Canadian home prices are not justified at current rates, noting that if interest rates don't come down, it becomes much more difficult to support current valuations. So, we have two seemingly dichotomous views. One from RBC, which recently put away over $600 million in loan loss reserves, saying that we need to have lower interest rates to make housing more affordable, and Paul Beaudry, who has left his job as Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada and returned to teach at UBC. But what does the data actually say? So what I want to do today is go over the report from RBC, take a look at how it says Canada could return to affordability, discuss what the data actually says, and then go over what to look for next. Speaking of next, we are eagerly awaiting the release of September's real estate data out from the local boards, which will give us our first glimpse into how the fall real estate market is playing out. We'll obviously have an update out on that data on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, let's get into this report. Onto the report, RBC's affordability chart looks at housing affordability vis-a-vis home ownership costs as a percentage of median household income, noting that the percentage skyrocketed upward during the pandemic. So, as prices went up and rates fell, housing affordability plummeted, as households had to devote a greater share of their income towards housing costs. However, while we did see an uptick in house prices during the spring, RBC says that an uptick in household income, up 1.4% from the first quarter, provided buyers with more purchasing room. And we can see this in RBC's data. For 2 quarters in a row, housing affordability got a bit better. Marginally better, but still better nonetheless. However, says RBC, this dynamic is unlikely to last, as rising incomes will take a back seat to higher mortgage rates and appreciating prices. Yep, you read that right. RBC says that as mortgage rates remain elevated and house prices appreciate, rising incomes won't be enough to make housing any more affordable.
It's math. It's really not. Look it up.
As such, RBC says that there's only 2 ways to restore housing affordability: a housing crash that would destroy property values, or an about-face in monetary policy. So, according to Royal Bank, if we want to see housing affordability restored, we'll either need to see a house price crash where everyone who owns a home loses a large chunk of their equity, or we'll need to see lower interest rates.
Well, when you put it like that...
But is that actually the case? Do lower interest rates usually improve housing affordability here in Canada? For this, we'll do some deep research and pull up RBC's own chart. If we look at housing affordability in the aftermath of 2020 when rates were at 0%, housing affordability shot up to the worst it's ever been. The next most recent surge in unaffordability began in April of 2015 and ended in October of 2018. Coincidentally, or not, the beginning of the surge in unaffordability happened right after the Bank of Canada lowered rates in 2015, kept them low right into 2017 as house prices got more and more unaffordable, and then started raising again in late 2017, prior to the peak of unaffordability.
What's going on here? I don't understand.
So, according to RBC's own graph, in the post-2008 environment, all 3 major spikes in unaffordability were accompanied by lower interest rates. In this glaring hole in RBC's mechanics, how low interest rates are supposed to restore affordability isn't really explained in the report. Rather, RBC admits that rates are likely to stay high, though it does expect the Bank of Canada to enter into a rate-cutting environment by mid-2024. And, as a brief aside as to when we're getting those rate cuts, RBC would definitely be the one to ask, as, at this point in time last year when we had 7% inflation, and RBC was warning that homes had never been so unaffordable, it was predicting rate cuts down to 3.25% by the end of 2023. Fast forward 1 year later, the policy rate is at 5%, RBC says that affordability is getting better, and the Fed is saying that rates are going to remain higher for longer.
Thank you for your service.
Regardless, according to RBC's own chart, when interest rates fall, affordability gets worse. And the reason, according to almost every single study on monetary policy and asset prices everywhere, anywhere, when interest rates drop, demand for housing goes up. And as such, so too do prices. Income over the past 15 years has remained relatively static, with income only up 17% since 2008. This, in contrast to house prices, which have far more than doubled over the past 15 years, with the benchmark price of a home in Canada sitting at $325,000 at the beginning of 2008, now sitting at $757,000 as of August. So, judging from the meager increases in income that we've seen over the past 15 years, combined with the near zero interest rates that have pushed house prices up, nearly doubling, it looks like low interest rates make house prices less affordable, not more affordable. Given that, over the past 15 years, ultra-low interest rates have led to multiple increases in unaffordability, it's not clear, as of right now, why RBC would say that lower interest rates will help improve affordability going forward. And while I can't speak directly to this glaring omission on the part of RBC, in addition to the over $600 million that it's put away in loan loss reserves, the bank has also recently reported that over 43% of its mortgages now have amortizations over 25 years. That's up from 40% at this point in time last year, and way up from 26% the year prior. So, declining house prices or a house price crash, the only other thing that RBC says could restore affordability, isn't exactly in the bank's interest. Yet, with interest rates up and all signs pointing that they're going to stay that way for the foreseeable future, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting house price increases anytime soon. And, as Paul Beaudry mentioned, if inflation doesn't go where the Bank of Canada wants it to go in short order, we could very well see interest rates go up even higher. With that said, we should get a much better idea as to the direction of affordability and house prices when the local boards start releasing their data, and we're obviously going to have an update out on that data on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, thanks so much for watching.